Hi everyone, welcome to the Easter camp and for 2020 and we really are happy to have you with us today with the emotional resilience topic. And first of all, I want to say thank you for Joel and Rain and the teams, and they have given us such a good exercise earlier, and I follow half of that, and then it was really make me stress. I believe by now, for those that have exercised, that your stress levels actually have come down as well. And so I'm very thankful for that. Now, today's topic is about mental resilience and why is that mental resilience? And we live now, especially now, why we don't have an Easter camp outdoor, and because we are now in a pandemic situations where we need to have that isolations happening. And in these situations, many of us some of them, they say, oh, you make me really mental. And we need to bounce back to our emotional state in a more healthier way to face these epidemic situations. Therefore, we need this topic to let you know about how can we regulate our emotion during this time. Now, we're going to have 4 sessions. Today is the first sessions, and 2 by me and 2 will be by Tina. And just bear in mind, though, that as we carry on since our sharing here, and so some of the things that we talk about, or maybe I talk about, or maybe the question that you've raised out become a bit personal, can we say this as a private and confidential? Keep whatever that you hear into this room, okay? And in order to provide a safe and comfortable environment for anyone to raise the questions, okay? And please, as you go through this series, and I hope let us learn not to judge, not to condemn, not to criticize what you heard, the ensemble that you have, and stay in respectful ways as we learn about emotion. And if anyone throughout the sessions here that you feel distressed after the sessions, please do not suffer a silence at home. Let us know. And please call your pastor of your church, and then please call your personal counselor, or please call any counselor that that is near you that can help. And please call Tina or me if you do know us as well, so that the distress that comes into you, right? We would like to hear you. We would like to help you to go through this distress. For this training is not meant to make you distressed, rather to help you. So therefore, make sure you connect with us. Now, let me introduce myself. I think most of you, maybe some of you have known me, but some of you have not known me. My name is Cyndee. I'm actually working as a nurse in a Royal Children's Hospital, and working in an intensive care unit. As you can see the picture here, and that is what my work environment look like, dealing with the sick baby. And then you can see every day I'm encountering the situations is about emotions, distress, and anxiety and depressions when I'm encountering with the parents, when I'm encountering with the baby, and even among the staff, there are such a high level of stress as well in their situations. Now, just imagine, right, in this kind of environment as I work, we need to trust one another. And the trust is so important. Just imagine when the trust broke. When it breaks the trust, you actually create lots of anxiety towards the mother, towards the parents, parents towards themselves. If they do not trust us, or we do not trust our staff, if we question our staff, we create a lot of tension among each other. Therefore, it is very important. We need to understand our emotions. And in Bible, I don't know about you, me as a Christian, the Bible promises became a calm words, promises that can calm our hearts. In Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, have I not commanded you to be strong encourages. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Just look at that. It words itself. God actually knows. We are in the situation of fear. We are in the situation of dismay. And we actually are distressed in some way in our life. But God say what? He say, fear not. Therefore, by knowing that God is understood our emotions, it actually calms us down. We can connect with God. We are not alone facing the things that is happening to us. So, today, as we are discussing about emotions, we cannot go without learning of God, how He can be the solutions for us. Now, talking about emotions, straight away we will look into our emotional EQ. Everyone talk about EQ nowadays, and especially in a high level of people, in a company or in wherever you are. EQ, emotional intelligence, is the words that people are looking for. Really. No matter how high your IQ you have, how many straight A's you have, but if you have a low EQ, it is very hard to work with other people. And it's very hard to communicate. It is very hard to get along or have a good relationship with one another. Therefore, EQ is something that every one of us that we need to develop over the time so that our relationship with other people, whether in a working place or at home, can be improved. And there are 5 steps of emotional intelligence. And first is knowing my emotions. So that is what today we're going to do, is to know our emotions. And managing my emotions, recognizing emotion in others, managing relationship with others, motivate ourselves to achieve our goal. And guess what? What does it lead to if we really look into our emotion, if we really work on it, if we really make a change in our emotions? What will it lead to? It will actually increase our contentment success in achieving our goal. How nice. Would that motivate you to continue to follow us in these 4 sessions? Unfortunately, because it's only 4 sessions, we cannot provide you everything in this training. But it's a good start indeed to get to know your emotions. Now, there is 4 causes of our emotions. There's happiness, anxiety, depression, anger. This is a very very common emotion that we have mentioned to one another. And believe it or not, yet these 4 core of emotions look like it's only more negative emotion than the happy one. And that is in reality, how it affects our life. Now, let's look at it in more detail though. Let's see. Now, when we really split it clearer into this emotional view, this view will actually, you can learn to understand where your emotion is really at. Because sometimes, we don't really good at looking to our emotions. We somehow fear to face it, fear to address it, fear to identify it. And because of that, whenever someone asks, how are you? I'm fine. Or maybe a bit upset. Or maybe not very, not very comfortable with these situations. We only put it in such a way that it's comfortable for us to face it. But really, I would like you to have this view in this. I think Peter, hopefully she can email to you to have these views. Or you can Google it actually. Just put the emotional view, it will come up to you. And now, how do you see this view? Let's say in this coronavirus situation, and if I will ask you, how did you feel staying at home in this public holiday, where you used to, this time, you either raise the funds outside the on the roads outside, or you actually go for camping, you actually go for holiday, and yet now you are now unable to do so. How do you feel? Maybe you say, oh, I feel sad. I feel sad. I'm stuck in my house. And perhaps you ask a little further. So do you mean that you feel sad staying at home? Yeah, my home is so lonely. And see, as you can see, from sad, you can identify yourself even more accurately that you're actually feeling lonely. And you can address that loneliness. How can I address my loneliness? In these situations, you can join the Easter camp. And then you can have lots of activity and join the boot camp. We will release the stress. And then after the boot camp, you feel a lot happier. You're not lonely anymore. You can connect with people, reconnect with people. Now, so it is important that for us to identify my feelings. Do not go straight want to find the solutions. I'm depressed, and I want to find a solution. Can you help me with my depressions? But yet in the depression that we are talking about, I am depressed, it actually can come up with lots of reasons that why are you depressed? This is something that perhaps you need to ask yourself. Why are you depressed? Why do you say that you are depressed? And sometimes when we look they say that I'm depressed, and we then understand, hey, I'm actually working on my own. This project is just too big, and I'm working on my own. It's online, and I cannot even discuss with people. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Is that really you cannot discuss with people? You got a mobile phone. You still got your WhatsApp. You still can call people. You still can reconnect with people to ask them to discuss with people. Sometimes it is our irrational thinking that actually create that deeper, stronger emotion, which is not actually necessary. When I actually look into it in a more realistic way or rational way, I actually can think of a way how then I can come out of this depression. So identify your emotion is very important. Okay, and that is your homework. Make sure you do your homework. Okay? Now, what is your goal to achieve in life? My goal to achieve in life, I believe, I remember now, but I remember when I graduated from my university, the first thing that I really want is to be happy, to find my happiness. How? After uni, I am free. I'm an adult. No one can control me. Oh yeah. So what I do? Go drink, go disco, go dancing, go meet with people, go crazy with the friends, and we think that we are actually have found that happiness. And many people find happiness in many ways. Some in relationship. This holiday, I must go and find partners. I must find a boyfriend, I must find a girlfriend. Otherwise, I will be so miserable. No one be with me. I will be so sad. And they try to find their happiness in relationship. And some people hang out with friends and they introduce to them with drugs. Some people hang out, hey, let's go high and get into drugs. Some people, let's say, hey, let's get drunk and then get, crazy. And this is the people that find happiness. They find happiness in a wrong way, in the wrong substances. And how can I really find happiness? How do I achieve that goal, happiness? Now, by finding happiness, first, we really need to know what God actually created us for. I tell you, God created us. Everyone knows about Genesis 1 and 2. He created us with his own hands. Now, do you realize that is the first emotion that he actually put in us? And if we want to find happiness, it's not from what things that I should do. It's not from what people that I should meet. It's not from what holidays that I should need to go to find that happiness. But rather, to find the happiness is actually God has put in us. Let's look at that. In Genesis 1 and 2, if you really look into Genesis 1 and 2, you see how God created the world, the nature, and how actually that nature bring peace, bring harmony. And then, what did he do? What else did he do? He put the nature together. He put the animals together. Now, tell me, anyone look at the animals running, especially go to the beach, you see the dog. Not most of the people, don't say those who are scared of dog. Most of the people look at it and with a smile on their face. And that is the way God creates. He creates that we are actually interdependent, that smile brings us happiness. And when we see, of course, when we see further what He do, what God created humans. He created humans with His own hand. How sentimental is that? If you create something with your own hands, would you feel very precious? This is exactly what God created. When He created human with His own hand, He created that connection. He created that attachment. He created that bonding. He created the love. He created that security. The self-identity. Do you realize when you born, when you say that, Mom, Dad, that it gives you very strong identity. I am my parents' child. That self-identity God had given us when He created us. And do you realize that, when He created, what did He tell Adam? He said that this tree that you do not eat, the rest of it you can eat. By putting the laws, what did He activate? He activated the emotions of obedience, self-control, and that actually help to have decision making. That's actually do you realize when you actually be able to obey something, to carry out something correctly, have you ever experienced that and then you feel, yes, I've done it. You're so happy. That achievement that gave you that kind of happiness. So this is what God had created us for. And He also gave him job. He said, hey, Adam, that creations, the animals and all the gardens, all the trees, you need to take charge. Wow. Take charge? Lord, you mean take charge? Yes. And you name all the animals. Wow. Do you see what God created? The emotion of ego in man, the emotion of responsibility, the emotions of ownership. That kind of the things that God had created in us by just asking Adam to take charge of it. You see, it is so amazing. God have actually, how He actually put within us that we can achieve that and bring happiness. And also He wants them to contribute as well. Now, as you contribute, you play part of the important role into take care of the animals and the gardens, and name them. As you contribute, what you contribute is intelligence, using His intelligence. How amazing. Sometimes we do not know how far our intelligence can go until we test it, right? And this is it. When he look at the animals and He name it, the intelligence grow, and you practice it, the easier it comes easier. And God wants us to create that emotion in us, in achievements, in having that care and care for others, care for the animals, care for the environment, that fulfillment that He gave within us. And He even give her the helper, and a helper to support Him. And that is Do you realize that it's like the bone of the bone? You are my bone of the way he say is so intimate. It's really so intimate. Now, that is what actually God created in us, in our emotion, the passion, the compassion for one another. And this, do you realize this is your base of your emotion? This is a DNA, it's within us. Nothing can change it. Do you realize the minute you're born, you have all that emotion in you? Did you realize all that actually are positive? Actually within you, you actually create that happiness in, that fulfillment, that, I can't describe it, that enjoyment, the joy that you can have in your heart, that no one can take that away. It is a DNA. Now, why do I tell you this? While you are facing, what we are facing is fear. Do you dare to go out now without washing your hands when you get home? Do you dare to actually, first time when I went to the shopping center, the first time I actually hesitated to take the trolley. Last time I never think of it. I just take it and use it. But now I have the fear. Do I want to touch it? Who before me would they have coronavirus positive? So I think I'm going to better get a plastic bag and put on it. So we live in a fear now. How? Why do I tell you about God create us this such a positive, amazing, deep emotion in us? I tell you, God created this amazing thing within us. Now, I give you this because I want to give you a base. When you go to the doctor will check you, what is your normal blood pressure? They will look into your normal blood pressure, normal temperature. And when you go something wrong, they have a base to check. Hey, she's normally her blood pressure is not that low. Look at him, she is very low now. Then she can identify something has gone wrong. So this base is very important. This base is help you to have a checklist. Where go wrong in my life? If you have the checklist here that God have DNA in me, have that such a good emotional inbuilt inside me, why then I'm not happy? Why then I'm not feeling secure? Why then I'm not feeling lovable? Why then I dare not receive people love? Why then I cannot trust? Why? That is a checklist for you to go through it. And then, now I'm going to tell you even more further. I want you to bring you and dive you into our brain. I tell you, it is fascinating what God created. Follow me. Now, this is the thing that God created. I do not know if my apology if I pronounce it not correctly. Okay, whoever the doctors are listening. Now, I pronounce it as amygdala. Okay? Now, I will pronounce this throughout. I may be wrong, but it's okay. Now, the amygdala that God had created inside our brain. Now, amygdala, as you can see in the picture, is actually located in the temporal lobe of the brain on two sides. On temporal is here, on two sides in the middle. Okay? And what does he do? So the shape is like an almond shape. And then it is inside of each cerebral hemisphere. And the function of it is, he actually independently of the limbic system and as an alarm system. The amygdala is responsible for the perceptions of emotions such as anger, fear, sadness, as well as controlling of aggressions. So now you see, actually, the amygdala is the one who actually are working, giving us the functions of that emotional feelings. Now, let's go further. Let's look further. What is this amygdala? Do you realize it's an alarm system, which means alarm system means what? when something happened, that is fight and flight, right? When if something happened, like before I never scared of dog. When I was a little child, I look at the dog, I just walk. I never fear. But one day, I was actually climbing on a bar, and then I jumped down from the bar. Suddenly, a dog ran out. A mad dog, I call it. A mad dog come out from underneath the car, and then he just grabbed on my heel. I was scared. I screamed. What is my fight and fright then? I frozen. I can't run. He was biting on my heel. I was so scared. But do you realize that what did amygdala do? He recorded it because he's a recorder. He recorded his memory. Dog bite. That memory. And my interpretations, my reaction is scared, my heart rate raised, and I want to get away from this dog. Do you realize that it affected me throughout my life? That the minute I see dog, whether they're barking or not barking, how cute they are, my heart rate raised. Why? Because there is alarm in my amygdala telling me, dog, bite, fear. The fear just come. The fear just come. So he programming this inside me. And then there is a switch. The switch of a safe switch or is a trigger switch. The safe switch is what? The minute I see dog, I go far away and don't want to get close to it. Or the trigger, the minute I see people carry dog, it triggers me of the fear. My heart rate shoots. And they have that switch automatically. And then he also have a multiple switch. As an adult, you will have 3 switches. You have a child switch, adult switch, and parent switch. What does that mean? When I go to beach, I can be like a child even though I'm an adult. I will just go crazy and laughing and smiling. And then I will running. And then when I'm an adult, I'm responsible. I carry things in an accordingly way. And when I'm a parent, if as a parent's role, if my parents criticize me, I will criticize people. So when I criticize people, I actually using my memory that have recorded how my parent treats and how I treat other people. So that is how it actually works in an amygdala. Sad thing is, it cannot be erased because it's a permanent there. It cannot be erased because it is part of my life. He had recorded all my life history in there. But good news is you can add in a dual versions of programming. You can have new experience with the same thing that you used to fear. Now you don't have to be fear. Just like the dog. So what happened to my fear with the dog now? No longer the same. So the amygdala actually can programming a new experience, help you to actually to take away your fear. I have a new experience. So if your new experience, you have more new experience happening, he recording it more, therefore he will not touch on that fear as much, but give you more positive experience because you are now experiencing more on this positive experience. So because my patient, one of my friends, that he was disabled, she was confined in a wheelchair, and I went to do the physiotherapy for her at home, and she got a small chihuahua, and it always come to me. I was like, at first I was like, I was so scared. But as I experienced more, the child actually cuddled her on her lap, and then asked me to touch her and touch the dog, and then all of a sudden, the more I do it, the more my fear had gone. I have a positive experience with this dog. And that is how the amygdala works. Now, come back to our real experience. Come back to our real experience. Now, as it is, our emotion is actually as easy as ABC. Whether you know, but yet it sounds very easy, but it can be very complicated to explain to you what it is like. But I hope you follow me. Okay, so what happened to my emotion now? Now that you can relate, it is the amygdala actually have recording it, your experience, your fight and flight, you know, or your whatever that you expose to it, that give you positive or negative experience. So first is the activating event or unpleasant situations or trigger to your anger or to your fear or to whatever that your emotion that it got onto you. And another is our B. What is B? B is my belief. How my self-talk sounds. How do I talk to myself? Oh no, I'm scared. That is how I talk to myself. And then, you know, the things all come out. It triggers me. And then, when we silently tell ourselves how I interpret the event, or what are your beliefs and expectations? Is it assumptions or is it true? And what is my belief? What do I tell myself? And sometimes we do tell things that, you know, just an assumption, you know. Like lately, I was cleaning the house to return my rented place, and they asked us to re-clean it again. And then my housemate was saying, "Oh, that agent, oh, he must be very mean. He must be one don't want to give back our bond. That's why." So it is an assumption. It is not really true. We don't even know whether it is true. It's what that people think, but we have that assumption. But what did that assumption do? Because if I believe that assumption is true, then how do I treat towards my agent? I would be very angry with her, right? I would be saying that this is not fair. How could he do that to us? If I agree with this, if I take that assumption as a true, it actually aggravate my anger, aggravate my, you know, I want to aggravate more if I criticize it more, right? So, and that is how the B work. What do you believe? The C is my behavior, the consequences. How do you feel what you do in response to your belief system? So like earlier, my example is, I get angry. If I believe what her assumption is true, I get very angry. How could my agent do that to me? Right? Now, then, when I want to rewash the house, will I rewash it gladly? No. I will be angrily doing it, right? So that is how it affects my behavior then, right? Is that worthy? Is that worthy that we behave this way? And if my emotion, my behavior is about my belief, therefore we need to filter and screen through my belief. It is an assumption that it's my self-talk that I'm talking it out, the things that I'm talking out. Is that assumption or is that a truth? The things that I'm talking it out, is that make me more angry? Then, is it an irrational belief? If it's so, what are you going to do about it? Or it is my belief. Actually, it helped me to tolerate better, to regulate my emotion better. Then that thought, that belief will be more beneficial to me. So it is your choice. How do we want to behave? It depends on what do I choose to believe. Now, in real life, a lot of us actually do have a crooked A to C thinking. What is crooked A to C thinking? Crooked A to C thinking is I will blame the event of my behavior. It's like, why are you so angry washing the house? My agent, my agent doesn't approve it because he doesn't want to give back my bond. If I believe the irrational, the assumptions, I will blame the agent of my anger, towards the events and towards the things that I'm encountering. So, and a lot of time we do that. And it happened very automatic. It happened very quick that you didn't even realize that belief actually make you feel that way. You cannot even actually know at that moment if you're not aware what is irrational beliefs about. Therefore, today we will like this training, we would really like to talk a lot more in irrational belief, to review the B, belief and the self-talk, irrational belief and self-talk. This is a more rational way in looking into our emotion. By having A, B, C, which means a straight ABC thinking, I have my event, my activate event, I have my belief and self-talk. That actually help me to be more responsible to my own emotion. That means if I choose the irrational belief to become the true, and that actually aggravate my emotions to anger, then I can address my belief so that my irrational belief change to replace the rational belief that, hey, you know what? The agent may not mean that way. It's just that he's doing her duty. He's just more serious. He's responsible to make sure that I clean according to the standards that they are agree with the owner. So if I say that more rationally, hey, do I angry with her anymore? No. And if I think it that way, when I wash it in a more respectful way, right? Because she's doing her duty, and I have to be responsible to as well as a tenant, to clean the house and return the way that he wanted to. That way, suddenly, I'm not angry. Do you see the difference? Being responsible to your own emotion. And that is the key, okay? So I'll explain a little bit more on A to C crooked thinking. Is believing that we have a little or no ability to influence our feelings and that events and situation directly. Cause our emotion and behavior. And I am powerless to suit my feeling and powerless to improve the event in my life. If we actually continue to practice this way, do you see that it seems that my emotion, my behavior, my anger, so hopeless, is that I cannot improve myself, right? So I'm glad it is not that way. I'm really glad it's not that way, so that my anger can be resolved. So this way, we actually have lost touch with or not aware of my irrational belief. And that is what we're going to do, is to bring this awareness in, to get you to not to lose touch, but touch upon your irrational belief. Bring it out, make it known, so that you are more aware, so that you then can do something about with your negative emotion, with your anger, with your depression, with your fear. You can do something about it. And because of that, we so used to blaming. Not my fault, it's that person's fault. And this distorted thinking leads to distorted behavior. You won't be able to communicate. Imagine if we live in the same house, even in our own sibling, if we keep blaming each other, how can we communicate? How can we actually say that we are one family? How can we actually say that, I do care about you, when we start doing that blaming thing? So therefore, let us be responsible to our own emotions. Let us look into it in a more rational way and look into it and learn it and improve it. Talking about self-talk and belief, that the B that we're talking about, the irrational self-talk and belief, there is a reason why we don't want to touch upon it. Because it is quite sour. We don't want to touch our sour part. Because deep inside, as we grown up, this is what amygdala actually has stored. When did he start storing? Do you realize that it's actually not storing now? That you use it now, you store it now and use it now. It is not so. Do you realize that the irrational that belief that you have is actually come on the day you're born? It starts aggravate on the day you're born. Do you know why I say that? Because on the day that you're born, that your mom push you and push you. When you're born, you need to take the first breath to survive. That amygdala need to respond, fight and fight to survive. You need to take a deep breath. And take a deep breath, and the baby, he can breathe, and the lung can work, and the heart is working. Because do you realize when you're in your tummy, it put into rest. Your lung is not working. You are depending a lot on your mommy and your placenta to breathe and get the gas exchange. So the moment actually when you're born, the amygdala already aggravate that the fight and fight to survive. And the first one that you're encountering is the baby actually put into the parent's arm. How she actually talk to you when you look at you. That is the time the amygdala actually work to give you that belief, your self-identity, who you are. Are you a lovable? Caucasians and Asians are a different way of talk to baby. Do you know Asians? It's so funny, I don't know why. I don't know when it starts. When you look at the baby, you look so ugly. They don't know why, they like to do that. And they seem that they say, if you say the opposite, the child will behave the opposite. Apparently that is the case. But yet, this is the way the Asian children's been brought up, is to instilling a lot of negative self-identity, where the Caucasian actually more into the positive self-identity. So what happened to the amygdala, that recording in us when we actually receiving negative identity that we have? You no good. Oh, you so careless. Oh, you so ugly thing. Stupid. Why do you do that? We actually talk to our children like that. And then amygdala recording it. And that became part of me as I grown up. And do you realize what happened after I grown up? After I received the recording of my amygdala, I record it, and then what do I picture myself? I'll tell you a story. My friend, she is so pretty. And she became a young lady, of course. And then she want to move from Melbourne to Sydney. And then there is one thing I had to tell her. I say that you become a young lady now, and then you're going to a new place. You're going to meet a new people. Do you realize? I want you to prepare, not realize. I want you to prepare, actually, I say, that you're going to have many people after you. I said, no, I'm so ugly. I don't believe you. I said, why do you say you're so ugly? You are a really pretty girl, Once you go away from here, you have many people after you. And then she said, no, my mom say I'm ugly. From everyone tell me that I'm ugly. But do you realize that I actually of course, one day he called me. And then he said, oh, I have this problem with this boy. And I have that problem with that boy. And I have this boy. And then I say, but do you know why so many boys interested to talk to you, want to make friends with you and stuff like that? And then, I don't know why. I'm not pretty. I like, hold on. Then I said, oh, okay, let's do it this way. I actually use my phone camera and then take a picture and then show it to her. I said, this is not you. It's your friend. Would you tell your friend that she's ugly with this look? And then she's looking at it. No. If it's not ugly, what would you tell your friend? She's actually quite good looking and you're quite pretty. And then that is not her. She can describe it. She say, but then it actually is her. And then because I make her feel like try not to be hearing what the memory tell her from her childhood, the wrong message, a lie message to her. That was a lie when you say that she's ugly. It's not a right, true message. But in order to help her to see that she needs to have a new recording, new programming that who she is, her self-identity, that she actually is a pretty lady. And that helps. Then finally I tell her, I say that this is you. Now you can admit this is you. Can you tell yourself you actually is a pretty girl, just like you tell your friend that she's a pretty girl when you didn't see her as you? And then she began to, if you see yourself pretty now, can you handle the boys around you then? You see, it is very important. When you're starting to have a different self-image of yourself, when now you see yourself pretty and other people commend you are pretty and they like you, so they need to say that this is acceptable. It is okay to accept that compliment. Did you see that? It is so important that sometimes we need to reprogram our amygdala. Okay? Now, this self-talk and self-belief actually have affect my behavior. If I repeating, agreeing, say that I'm stupid, I'm ugly, how will I behave? I actually withdraw. I actually will withdraw and shrink from other people. I will hide. I will not believe people because these people do not tell the truth. They keep saying I'm pretty when I'm ugly. Do you see that? You see, we need to be honest to ourselves sometimes. We need to bring this irrational belief to the plate. Is that what it is? Can I be honest to myself? What it is? Who am I? What is my self-identity? Why am I withdrawing? Why am I tell myself that I'm hopeless? Am I really hopeless? Challenge yourself. Now, there are also things that are happening in my life that the amygdala actually recording. Is when in the childhood, when how the parents, relative, teacher, peers, my friends tell me what you must do and what you should do. And this too, I tell you, it is very irrational. Because when I keep saying that I must do it, so it carries on with my behavior. I must do it or you must do that. You actually give yourself, you're forcing yourself. You're giving yourself pressure. How can this pressure motivate you? How can this, force, as a human, when something falls into me, what will I actually naturally react? I resist. I resist. Therefore, anything you think that you must do, you should do, you realize that you actually never do because you're resisting it. And you feel very tired inside. You feel very tired inside. And that is exactly what this irrational self-belief that we actually rehearsing ourselves. Oh, I must do my exercise, Oh, this is 5 o'clock already. I must do my exercise. I must do it. But then Am I doing any actions? No. Because when I say I must do it, I'm resisting it. Because then I have what good excuse. Oh, but I'm very tired. But I'm very tired. You always come with a but. Therefore, we'll learn to replace it. We need to learn to replace it into a better way. I prefer, I will choose to, try to replace it with something that is more gentle, it's not so forceful, and not so restricted and rigid. And this is not enough. Sometimes I don't know why we give ourselves so much of pressure that we actually have more irrational belief, the hot links in irrational belief. Why is the hot links? Because this actually aggravates even further of our emotion. Sometimes we like to condemn. We like to say, I can't stand it. You know why? When I say that, is actually I don't want to endure other way. It got to be this way. It's very rigid. And we like to overanalyze things, Oh, it's terrible. I need to stand in front of the camera today. Oh, it's terrible. If I continue to feed myself today, I tell you, I won't be able to stand in front of you. If I'm overanalyzing it. It is quite scary, but it is not that awful. It is okay. I can stand it. And that is a way to calm down our emotions, okay? And sometimes we feel our worthless, and then I am no good, I have nowhere. Sometimes I don't know. When I really see myself that I'm no good, I have no value, and when someone wants you to present it, if I today I'm presenting you this emotion, if I see myself no good and no value, do you realize that I'm actually forcing myself in front of you? And how stressful would that be if I actually did not see a value of myself? Therefore, brother and sister, this only aggravate our self-worthlessness. Bringing even low self-acceptance. And we only bring it further down into a depression. Always and never. It's a language that we like to say, And then, is that really always? Is that really never? Actually, it is only sometimes. When we say it's always, we only make the other person who hear it say like, what you say, man, always? Didn't I do it yesterday? Didn't I did it this morning? Do you realize that it is never? No. I did it. Why you say never? It only aggravates the anger and frustration and agitation to one another, right? So why do we do that? Now, when we link it, then we can see how we aggravate our emotion. So the last one that I'm going to tell you is, who are you going to feed? There are two inside us. One is the anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiorities, lies inside me. And there is also good, joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy inside me. It's just like a wolf. They are fighting. Who wins? Which wolf will win? It's actually the one that you feed. Okay, who do you feed? Do you want to feed anger, jealousy, greed? Or would you like to feed joy, peace? It all depends on you, what you want to choose to believe. Now, that is how there is some questions that you need to ask yourself, how to detect my irrational belief and self-talk. This will be your homework. I hope Peter can send to you and that you will go through it yourself. And this one, we will continue to learn tomorrow, how 3 ways to talk yourself up. So, and how to listen to what you are saying to yourself and challenge your self-talk and also change your self-talk. And that is all about tomorrow. And today you have completed your knowing your emotions. So all that's actually information is from the Bible as well as from this book of SOS Help for Emotions, and also some of the slides that I taken from the internet. And activities at home that you can have. All right? So is to identify your personal emotions and behavior. Use the emotional wheel. Second, identify the first event, the number one that you actually have, what you have identified in number one. Now you look into it, identified it, and you have experienced. Is it an experience A, crooked C thinking, or is it a straight thinking ABC? And also the third one is, if it is A, crooked C thinking, you have identified, what is the missing B? What is the self-talk is missing out? And try to record the incidents, the events, and identify what is the self-talk and interpretations of the event. And the fourth, if you have identified the B, ask yourself, what will you respond or think differently if the same situations happens again? Well, have time to reflect, to do a bit of journal. Journal is good because you write down your reflections, and then you can identify write down what you have identified, and you can address it as it is, as it goes, and you will amazed how much you get to know yourself, and you will amazed how when you identify it, when you replace it with something more rational, how happy, how contented you will be. So we end our sharing now, and there will be 10 minutes of questions, or 5 minutes, or no time for that. I'm sorry, but you still can type in, and I try to answer you to the Zoom, okay?